When you remember when you spelled Whiskeylodeon Whiskeylodeon? Remember that time? Remember that time? Ty, it was beautiful. Do you remember the time when we broke through our halfway point of season 3? We're on the other side.
Are we on the other side already? Shit,
yes,
son.
Yes, we are. How does it feel for you?
I'm still reeling from the last episode where I'm still enjoying that cocktail we made.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was very delightful. Actually, I have a surprise for you, Ty. That cocktail doesn't necessarily have to die with that episode.
What?
It very, very, very much 1%. I have made a little surprise. Remember earlier when I said I didn't have snacks?
Yeah.
Last episode, we kind of
they went together.
Had a concoction. I lied to you.
Is this what you hid in the bowl?
I got this. Actually, do you want to describe what you see real quick, and I'll describe what's underneath it?
So Sean has a saucer plate with a bowl on top to hide whatever concoction he has put together for us.
Hence
the rattling. And he's about to lift off in 3, 2, 1. He made...
These are frozen Thin Mints.
What?
With blackberries from the last episode. Also, peanut butter kind of is gluing them together.
Shut the fuck up.
Drizzled with the blackberry lemonade, freezy. And then I also threw some sea salt in there because get a little bit of saltiness.
Oh my gosh!
And then some oats from some cereal. So just a little.
I've never been more excited.
I don't know. Do you want a picture of that real quick before we
done?
Before we
both need to take a picture of this.
Devour this.
Holy fuck.
We're going to take a picture of us taking a picture of it.
Yes.
It's going to be great. Obviously, this translates very well to audio. You're loving this. All right, Ty, here's the rule.
Tell me the rule. All right.
We're going to eat these cookies throughout the episode.
So not all at once. Okay.
The bottoms up portion has to feature at least one last bite of this.
You son of a bitch.
Intentionality.
That's not intentionality.
Do you think we can do
torture.
It might be torture, but you know what else is torture?
What?
The theme song.
My kid is now fast asleep, I can pour myself a glass. But too many shows on Netflix are trash, it makes me wanna pass. I can't figure out what to watch, what am I supposed to do? Let's get drunk and rewatch cartoons when we were little dudes. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do, Whiskeylodeon.
So, one, I never imagined peanut butter and mints would work well like it is right now.
Girl, you ain't been trying the right things.
No, I have not. So thank you, one, but also fuck you for making me wait this long to try it.
Yeah, well, I didn't know this was going to happen. This is honestly it works out when I don't go shopping before the podcast.
And you're like, what do I have?
What do I have? What can I make? You make the best of what you got. This is a metaphor for life.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah, I had a few things, and I was like, okay, hold on, this could be good. And while you listened to the theme song, we were taking one tiny bite because we're going to try so hard.
We are. I think what's going to happen is I want to wait until I get to the halfway mark to eat with the berry. Because I don't know if I can split the berry. I can try.
That's going to be hard.
That's going to be super hard.
This is a challenge.
It's a challenge.
It's like Drunk Driver, the Mario Kart version. If you're, have you played this? Are you familiar with? Okay,
no, I'm not. Fill me in.
Okay, so you're familiar with Mario Kart.
I am familiar, very familiar with
the
Mario
goal
Kart.
being try to win the race.
Right. Understood.
Same goal with Mario Kart Drunk Driver. The only difference is you are drinking while driving. But you can't drink and drive. You can't do that. So here's what you have to do. Your cart has to be stopped while you finish. You have to finish this beer, by the way. That's an important rule. You have two goals. Try to win the race. You have to finish your beer or your drink, whatever you have in your hand. Now, there's a couple strategies, Ty.
Okay, fill me in.
I'll give you 3. First strategy. Chug your drink from the starting line. Your cart's not moving, but your whiskey or your beer is. Second rule, or second strategy. You drive a little bit, you stop, you drink. You drive a little bit, you stop, you drink.
Okay.
You drive a little bit, you
stop. So
stop.
it's not like you cannot drive until your drink is finished. It's just you cannot drink while you are
while
driving.
you're actively driving.
And you cannot drink until you've stopped driving.
And the third one obviously being drive all the way to the finish line, stop your cart, finish your drink.
So you can't even finish the race until you finish your drink.
Correct. So we're doing that with our pastry here. We are going to finish this podcast, but before we get to the end of this podcast, I guess it's not the same. I hear
this
it
is
now.
a little different.
It's a little different.
What we're going to have to do is we cannot finish the race if we do not have a bit of the cookie.
Right.
But the race is not completed until the cookie is finished.
Correct.
That is
it's almost like drink. It's like
paradox.
talking and eating. We probably can't do the same. So we're gonna have to it's a teamwork exercise, because if I see you reach for the cookie, I need to take over the mic.
Right.
Vice versa.
Yeah, like we do with any snacks.
With any snacks, yes. Or fuck it, you just chew on that fucking blackberry and say what you got to say.
Say what you gotta say.
Say what you gotta say. So that's gonna happen in the background, and I guess we could talk about what we're pairing it with. Suddenly, it's a pairing.
Yes, suddenly it's a pairing. So I decided to bring
Surprise, bitch.
a bottle that was gifted to us. This is the Yamato Japanese whiskey with the Mezonara oak cask.
Right, and we have a photo on our socials with this amazing bottle, man.
Yes.
Can you talk about that before we talk about the whiskey?
Yes. So the bottle has a samurai armor. It literally has an armor and a helmet that goes on top of the tip of the bottle. Like literally, the helmet turns.
Yeah,
it's looking at
me now.
Sean right now.
It is looking right into me.
And now it's looking at me, and it's like, do you want to keep drinking me? And I do, because it's fucking delicious.
I do want to do that. Yeah.
This is one of those whiskeys where it's
I love how you... I don't even know if you non-verbally knew what you just did. You had it at yourself, and then you turned it right back to me, and then just dove right back into whatever you...
Oh,
He's
I did.
looking right at me.
I did that on purpose.
He doesn't look thrilled to see me.
Well, it's because he's not really thrilled to not be drinking right now.
We're working on it.
We are.
He's going to have to practice
this is
patience.
one of those whiskeys that is subtle. It's one of those things where you're like, I think I smell something, but it's like once you taste it, like, ooh.
All right, so what are you getting on the nose first?
So on the nose, let me pull it up to my nose. I get a little bit of like smokiness and toffee.
And we talked about that smokiness. There's a difference, though.
Yeah, because this isn't like smokiness from peat. It's almost like smokiness from wood. And it's very much a light touch. Like, this is one of those whiskeys that will just gently massage you. It's going to get you in the mood first before it tries to penetrate.
It's the foreplay
This
of
is the
smokiness.
foreplay of smokiness.
I made the mistake of actually taking this right above a candle.
That's right.
Yeah,
so
I
I took
smelled
a
the
picture,
whiskey.
and there was a candle we did with cocoa beans all around it, and he was like, "Oh, I smell smoke." Wait, hold on. I think that's the cocoa beans.
I was
the
like, I'm
candle.
getting smoke and coffee notes.
And then you pulled away, like, no, that's the actual whiskey.
Yeah. It's good.
It is fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah. It's one of those, like, the nose kind of matches the palate,
Yeah.
but obviously the palate's supposed to expand on that.
Yes, the nose gives you a very suitable trailer for what you're about to experience.
Yeah, it's like when you walk into a movie, you're like, all these trailers made so much sense for the feature presentation.
Yeah. So, TJ, if you're listening to this, thank you for this bottle. It is fucking delicious.
Yeah, it's delightful. I don't want to drink it fast.
Yeah, that is such a perfect explanation of what we're experiencing. We're having something so delicious, we don't want to speed run this.
Right. I also want to consume all of it.
I
It's
also want to do
paradoxical.
this while playing Mario Kart.
Yeah, this whole episode is as paradoxical as I think we're going to get. And I know before we dive into the content of the episode, the Teddy Report for babies.
There's a couple stories I want to share, and I'm trying to like narrow down to just a single one. I think the one I want to share just happened yesterday.
So at the time of this recording,
At the time of this recording, we had our first successful movie night.
oh,
So we went to Redbox. We picked out a movie. He picked out the movie, and he picked out Detective Pikachu.
There's only been one.
Yeah, just the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Good.
he picked it out.
Had you seen it?
Yeah, I'd seen it before.
Yeah.
And originally I saw it when it was streaming somewhere. I can't remember what it was streaming, but it's no longer streaming there. I think it's like on like Stars or whatever it is, because now you have to pay for it. But he watched it and loved it. Like, this is the first time we watched an entire movie, not just like bits and pieces. We watched the entire movie, and he was engaged. He was like, "Oh, that's that Pokemon. That's Blastoise. That's Pikachu. That's Charmander." Like, he was so engaged and kept asking, "Wait, if all the Pokemon in the world teamed up together, could they beat Mewtwo?" I was like, "Yeah, they probably could, but they would all need to team up."
Yeah.
It was honestly really fun because I had our daughter Leona, so I'm sitting there rocking her as she's falling asleep in my arms, which is adorable and sweet, and I just want to just love on her. And then Teddy was hanging out with Mama, and it was our first successful movie night, and it was amazing.
Oh.
And then a turn took.
I actually thought it was going to end there.
No.
And I was like,
It
this
does
is a very
not
nice,
end
like,
there.
anticlimactic story. In a good way, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
there's no
no
conflict.
surprises.
It's just like,
yeah.
And then we all drifted off into slumberlands.
But that was not. Well, okay. So we did drift off
But
to Subland.
this night was not.
No. We
that
did.
night.
That night was that night. But the morning,
Okay.
a twist turned. Because I guess he never understood that we're just renting this movie. So we were like, all right, well, we got to take this movie back. And he was like, no, I like this movie. I don't want to take it back. And I'm like, well, here's the thing. We rented it. So the longer we keep it, the more expensive it becomes. He goes, but I want to keep watching this movie. Okay. Well, guess what? We can buy it. And he couldn't quite grasp that. Because, like, but you're going to take it away now. I'm like, yeah, we are. But we're going to have the DVD later. Because right now we were just renting. And he just couldn't grasp that. Like, he was breaking down. He was just like, I can't believe you're taking away the first movie I've wanted to watch all the way through.
Does he understand different mediums of how we view our entertainment?
He understands that we had to use a disc for this one instead of just going to Netflix. So he understands that. What he didn't understand was renting versus owning. So I now have to figure out how to teach him this because I don't want him to try and rent an apartment and be like, wait, I don't own this apartment?
Yeah.
That just got too real. I'm really sorry.
So basically, don't rent. Don't do what I've done. Don't walk to this.
Don't make
this
the same
path.
mistakes I made.
Yeah. Buy a red box. Don't rent a red box.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you obviously took this DVD back.
We did. We finally were like, hey, like, here's the thing. We don't own it right now. So we'd have to keep paying money, or we can use that money and buy one for ourselves from Amazon.
I mean, I'm sure you did.
And then his whole thing was like, but then we have to give it back to Amazon. I'm like, no. If we buy it from Amazon, it's ours. Right now, this right here is Redbox. They own it. We have to give it back.
I think I would be a bad parent because I would say, you know what? We have to put this in a special box and it will turn it into a better movie. But you have to wait 2 to 3 business days.
I feel like there needs to be a book. Sean's terrible parenting advice.
Is this your third book?
Yeah.
How are those books coming?
Man.
I love that answer. I love the start of this.
So, like I said, we got to a point where we were at our second draft of We Don't Say What the Fuck. I think we can continue with that. I have not put in the energy and effort and mental capacity of your kid's not awful. Or sorry, your kid's not evil, just awful. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, I haven't quite figured out not even the premise, but just the format of it. Because I can't just treat it like I'm doing stand-up. Because I'm sitting there trying to keep it short, but I'm like, no, with the book, I need to be more, like, broad. But how do I keep it funny if I'm adding extra stuff that's not necessary to the story?
Oh, I think you just described our balance and juggling act for the podcast.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Do we just keep it going and we just keep having fun? But then it's like, well, now we're losing the benefit of the humor we brought.
Yeah, we're losing our fan.
Yeah, our single fan.
Yes. Thank you.
It's getting so warm in here now.
Oh, because of fans?
Because the fan's not blowing air in
Fan
here.
joke.
That was a fan joke.
There is a fan joke in the show we're going to talk about.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay. Jimmy Neutron.
Jimmy Neutron. We are covering Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius. In fact, that's actually called The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius.
I never really thought about it as that full title, but that is technically the full title.
Yeah.
I just always called it Jimmy Neutron.
I mean, that was the main character. That was the main thing. That's the thing about cutting the fat. When you're telling a joke, you're just cutting out all the stuff that just doesn't add to the joke. If we just say Jimmy Neutron, you know what that is.
You know what it is.
You know what it is.
Yes. What episodes are we going to talk about today?
So we're actually going to cover the pilot episode. This is the episode that they showed in order to get picked up, but was not actually aired to the audience. This was the episode that Nickelodeon saw, and this is part of my fun facts. They saw this like, you know what? This needs to be a feature film.
All right, so you're telling me the pilot
Became a movie.
but it never aired.
The movie aired.
No, the movie did, but the pilot never actually.
The pilot never aired.
So the I'm putting it in quotes. The pilot was the movie,
The movie became what launched the series.
and then episode 2 happened
yes.
as the television show. Okay, so then how did we watch this? In quotes again, pilot.
So on YouTube, you can literally type in Jimmy Neutron pilot or Jimmy Neutron runaway. Sorry, had a lot of drink. Jimmy
It's been a
Neutron,
long day.
It's been a long day. We just got done filming episode 5, which we did with Teresa Zaleski, who is a host of Yay Dude, the Hey Dude Rewatch podcast.
It was so fun.
It was so much fun. She's amazing.
Please go
and
listen to
you can
their
listen to her here.
whole
and then
catalog.
go to her show, hear us there, and then just listen to them as well because they're just fantastic. She
Yes.
and Jess are just top of the line. Mwah. Thank you for so much being our friend.
Yeah, and as far as so I'm wondering, how did we actually watch this episode though? Like if it wasn't aired.
We watched it on YouTube.
I understand that.
Oh.
I guess I'm I know how
If
we
it was
watched it.
if it was never aired on TV, how did we watch it?
Yeah, like how do we have access to it as an audience?
Because when shows are basically wanting to be produced, there's called the pilot season. And this is where they are putting together a pitch, an idea. They are putting together an episode 1 so that they can say, hey, look, studio, I've made this and I can make more if you want to buy it. And the studio looked at this and they're like, ooh, I do like that, but I think it needs to be bigger. I think it needs to be a movie. Because this was actually Nickelodeon's first CGI movie and show.
Yeah, and you can tell that this pilot was a bit of a proof of concept.
Yes, that it was not as good. Like the character design, you're like, ooh, that's not what I remember.
And it's funny because we go back and we watch these TV shows, and when you first see them as a kid,
Yeah.
you have this idea of quality. It's actually kind of thrown out of your mind.
Well, because you're thinking like Toy Story. Like this was the
Right.
era where Toy
This
Story
was-
is coming out.
yeah.
You're like, ooh, Bugs Life. So I'm expecting a certain quality. And I'm like, this doesn't meet
You
it.
go back
but
and
I thought
watch,
it
and
did.
you're wondering, like, maybe this is what it was, and false memories kind of kick in.
Yeah, confirmation bias.
confirmation, but whatever it might be, yeah. And because this clearly was a proof of concept, it kind of reminded me. Ty, did you ever have these? Remember floppy disks?
I wholeheartedly remember floppy disks.
My dad had all these floppy disks with like screensavers on them. You know, if you wanted a screensaver to appear on your Windows 95, you had to put a floppy disk in and install that screensaver. You didn't just download it from a different source at the time. It was, here's a square thing you put in the square insert box in your rectangle box.
Your data is coming in a cartridge or a disc.
Yeah, and it reminded me of some of those screensavers, the way the graphics looked.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like old school. Like, do you remember Reboots on like Cartoon Network?
No.
Okay. It reminded me of that, of the whole like kind of choppy CG animation.
Almost it had one toe dipped in Uncanny Valley.
Yeah. Like you're saying, like, all right, this feels a little weird to me.
Yeah. So I was genuinely worried. However, knowing what we know, because we're going to cover another episode, fear not, the show fucking slaps.
So, to preface, while we're saying this about the animation, and while it felt more like a proof of concept, the story was actually pretty good.
I was 100% in it.
Yeah.
And I watched this after like a 12-hour day.
Yeah, you had a long day.
And I was like, I don't want to fall asleep during this episode. And the episode was engaging, and I was like, yeah, this is good. This is good. I missed this show.
It totally made sense why they're like, this needs to be a feature film.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you watch this show a lot as a kid? Like, did you kind of follow it?
So I didn't watch it religiously where I watched every single episode, but when it was on, I watched it. I enjoyed it.
Same. I think it wasn't your Hey Arnold or your Rugrats or your Doug necessarily. It was definitely like you introduced, like a new era of animation.
Yeah.
But the storytelling, gosh, it still lived authentically in the mid 90s, if you will.
Yeah.
When did this first air?
This
99?
came out 98.
98?
Yeah.
It still felt like the storytelling devices were just like I said,
it felt
authentically
like Pixar, where it was
Yeah.
like, hey, like, yes, we're having animation, but the story is what's important.
Nothing was sacrificed.
Nothing was sacrificed. Like,
Yeah.
it's sitting there telling the story of a kid who feels like he's not being valued at home and he wants to run away. Classic story.
Right.
And they told it in a way
Nickelodeon
that
at
I
its
was like,
finest. Yeah.
this doesn't feel just a rehashed story. This actually feels like it's a good story on its own.
Well, let's dive into this pilot, shall we?
Yeah, let me go ahead and give you some extra fun facts. So this was pitched. So yeah, we mentioned that this show was pitched as a series, and then it got picked up as a movie before going back to a series. But Jimmy Neutron was pitched as one part Bart Simpson, one part Bart Simpson, one part Albert Einstein, and one part Jim Carrey. Which I didn't quite catch until they said that the hairstyle was based off of Ace Ventura. And that made sense to me.
Okay, so cosmetically from very specifically Ace Ventura, Jim Carrey's
Yeah.
above the forehead.
And if we take it, we can also take it that it's like he's very out there, like kind of over exaggerating his responses. So I can see it.
You get
Jim
Bart
Carrey-
Simpson?
The Bart Simpson's kind of the sassy. Is like, oh, you're fine. Just count down. What's how do you count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? All right, blast off, bitch. Here you go.
Yeah. I can see a little bit.
It's a little like it's not like it's a equal parts. I wouldn't say it's one part Bart, one part Albert, one part Jim Carrey. I would say it's probably like
and this was a pitch.
an
So
8. Yeah.
What is great about this conversation is Jimmy Neutron became Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah.
He wasn't. Yeah.
He wasn't an amalgamation. He just was.
He just was. And but great starting points. I think that's that's how you create a character.
For sure. I also have some fun facts about how it was canceled. So there's 2 parts to the story. One part was the ratings started to decrease, which happens. But the main part is that the production company in charge of making it, DNA Productions, I believe it's DNA. Let me just make sure.
Really, DNA?
Yeah, it was in fact DNA Productions. So DNA Productions actually made the feature film The Ant Bully back in 2006. Do you remember this?
The Ant Bully?
The Ant Bully.
This is not ringing a bell.
This was a CGI film. I remember seeing like the trailer for it. I remember seeing it in theaters. I didn't see the movie. I just remember it being in theaters. But basically the whole premise was that you have a guy who's been bullied, and so he tries to take out his frustration on an anthill. So the ant's like, bitch, step off. So then with magic, they shrink him to the size of an ant. And now in order to punish him, he has to live with the ants. And now it gets to the point where he's trying to protect the ants from ant killers.
I will say that sounds like a punishment,
It does.
but not as bad as a free-range bee farm.
Bitch, we didn't even like cover the bee farm dream. All right, the
I don't know.
bees.
There's not much to talk about.
No, there is. We need to go into it.
If
So,
you listened to last week, I talked about a dream I had, and
I need you to describe the dream because, like, one, when you said free range bees, I lost it.
Well, I didn't think about it until I was describing the dream.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, I was in this park, and there's some picnic tables, maybe like a shed.
Yeah.
And you go to this place because you're intentionally visiting this bee farm. You're going to go see bees, like beekeepers, right?
Yeah.
But this farm was free range in that the bees there were just a lot of fucking bees flying everywhere. And I guess in my mind, it was like, oh, these are free range bees. And it was terrifying. It's a good dream to tell. And then when you're in it, you're like, this is weird. This is such a weird time. So, speaking of weird times.
We get to Jimmy Neutron, and the first thing we're introduced is him putting Carl in a rocket ship and launching him off to test his rocket.
We're going to say
engine.
Carl's his best friend?
Yeah, Carl's his best friend. That's fair. But, like, Carl's like, hey, like, I'm not really comfortable with this. He goes, no, you'll be fine. Just count down from, like, what comes before 5? 4? And then 3, and then 2, then 1. Blast off. Here you go. And Carl gets sent off to space. And so, like, we cut to Jimmy going back home. He goes, all right, well, I'm just going to have to wait. And the mom is kind of like, what you doing? Oh, I just had my best friend flying into space. Excuse me? And she does not support his ideals with science. She's very much like, no, I'm not okay with this. And in fact, you're going to hear about this from your father.
As soon as he gets home from work.
As soon as he gets home from work.
Well, and she almost says it in a fun, matter-of-fact way of like, basically like, Jimmy, you can't just keep blasting your friends up into space. As if it's like, you can't leave your dishes in the sink.
Yeah.
Same way.
It's the same way.
Yeah.
It was very much like, dude, this is just common sense.
This has happened before.
Yes. And so at this point, we cut to the dad coming into town. And the dad's like, so, like, you can't mess with, like, science and stuff because, like, there's fire and, like, yeah, that's bad. Also, your mom says you're grounded. Has no, like, ownership. It's like, no, this is what your mom wants, and I'm just following. Which is interesting because at this point, he's just following what the mom says. And then at another point, he kind of tries to take control. It's a very interesting complex that he has. So at this point, Jim is like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm running away.
Which at that point, he actually goes downstairs and tells his parents that he's running away.
He does. And the parents were actually trying to hit on each other. And then they see the son like,
way.
oh, let me stop. Hey, no, I'm just, your mom just had something on her face. So what can we do for you? I was like, I'm running away. And the mom tries to stop it. But then the dad's like, all right, cool. Well, we will miss you, but go have fun. And tries to play it. Cool. And so, of course, Jimmy leaves. And the wife's like, what the fuck are you doing? He goes, it's reverse psychology, babe. Baby. I got this.
I don't even think he said reverse psychology, I think is the best part of it. I'm pretty sure he just said it's psychology.
Yeah, he just said it was psychology.
Yeah.
And it's like, when I was a kid his age, I did the same thing. And I ran away from home. And then, like, I took 3 blocks and I was like, fuck it. I got to go to the bathroom because I'm wearing a diaper.
Yeah.
And she was like, his age? I was like, well, maybe I've been a little bit older.
It was like...
It was a quick joke that I was like, fuck, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Again, like, I was nodding off, and I remember I was like, that's so stupid. Like, just losing consciousness. I was like, oh, good. Cool.
Yeah.
What? Thank you, Papa Neutron.
Yes. And at this point, Jimmy is like, this was what was interesting to me is that Jimmy's not like just running away. He actually has a secret laboratory in the backyard. And that's where he goes. He literally pulls out a piece of his hair, like, hey, Vox, recognize my DNA. Vox is like, I recognize your DNA. Come on in, sir. And he has a rocket ship he's already built. And apparently he was testing the engine, which is why he sent Carl into space. He's like, all right, bitch, I'm gone. And he takes off into space. And while he's in space, we're introduced into the Yolkian alien tribe.
Sounds about right.
These are a group of goo aliens that are in a little
Ghoulians, if you will.
Yeah, Ghoulians. They're in a fucking snow globe machine, basically, where they're able to stay protected.
Do you think, Ty, they ever met Space Voltar up there?
I don't think they did, because I feel like they would have been a perfect
We
match.
covered Wienerville a few weeks ago,
We
and you told me that his name, he actually had like a name. There was this space
We thought it was
guy.
Voltaire, but it was like Eric von First and Second.
Yeah, and we just learned that.
Yeah, we called him Voltaire the entire time.
So I'm pretty sure Jimmy Neutron probably deleted scene.
Yes,
Probably
that's
met him.
probably what it was.
Yeah, okay. So he meets these Ghoulians.
Yeah, these Ghoulians are like, hey, they sent their protector. Let's capture him alive. And so they're sitting there trying to question him. It's like, bitch, I told you I'm a kid who ran from home. I'm like, yeah, because kids who run from homes can build rockets, which they kind of have a point. But they're
It's a
also
point and a counterpoint.
wrong, because this is Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah.
And so Jimmy Neutron sticks his robotic dog on him, Goddard.
Jimmy Nooch.
Jimmy Nooches the aliens. And at that point, he takes a fucking spoon, and just breaks their like glass shell, and they just melt on the floor because they have nothing to like suspend them in animation.
Which I always assume that if and when we come in contact with aliens,
Bring your wooden spoons.
bring your wooden spoons. I think we are the primitive.
Yeah, it was a very primitive, violent approach, and I wish Jimmy would have taken the approach of don't use violence, just confuse them.
Yeah, so Ty and I have discovered that confusion over violence will lead you to the outcome you want.
Enlightenment and joy.
Yes. Think about that and maybe try it.
Yeah, and then email us, tell us how it went.
Yeah, or just don't be a dick. It's a good option. It's a really good option. But Jimmy was a bit of a dick to these aliens.
I mean,
everyone in the scene was
They came at him
dickish.
sideways, and then he was like, well, I will reciprocate in kind.
Yeah. Yeah, but, I don't know. There's a whole
He
conglomerate of
basically-
dickery.
Yeah, he basically breaks the spacesuits of one of the aliens, and then the king alien is like, oh, be nice to me. He goes, well, then, bitch, I'm gone. And then as he leaves, the king's like, all right, well, now we got to get him. I got spared, now I want revenge. And at this point, they're now like shooting at him. And Jimmy Neutron's diving through this asteroid field. And then they come up. And
As children will do.
As children will do. And I appreciate this when he gets to a rather large asteroid. It's called a Swiss asteroid, because it has a bunch of holes. In which case, he basically just like Star Wars his shit through. He's going through, and all these ships are picking different holes that they can fit in. Their ships are shaped like rubber chickens. And they're going through these bigger holes, and then they're just kind of going back and forth, in between and out between each other.
In betwixt
each other. That they start like crashing into each other. I guess the point that they all crash and burn.
It felt like that's what the outcome was.
Yeah. It gets to the point where like the king and everyone else has lost their like spacesuit, and now they're just a puddle of pudge.
A bottle of pudge.
A puddle of budge. A puddle of pudge. They were just goos. They were goos. They were goosed.
No longer Ghoulians, just goo. Sans lians.
Yes. And so at this point, they're like, we'll get back to you, Jimmy Neutron. And Jimmy comes home. And during this time, the mom's like, I can't believe our son ran away. We need to go find him. And then Dad's like, no. Come on, sugar booger. Which I didn't realize would be such a great term of endearment.
It's something.
It's something. And she's sitting there, like, no, don't you sugar booger me. Like she was like, no, I appreciate this sentiment, but don't you start that sentiment. I need to stand firm. It's like, no, you're my sugar booger. And she finally was like, no, I can't. I gotta go find our son. And at this point, Jimmy has come back into the stratosphere. He crashes his rocket, starts bouncing around, and when the mom opens the door, Jimmy and Goddard just plop back in. And I was like, see, bitch, I was right. And I was like, I can't believe that made it into the show.
Yeah, I mean, and we didn't even talk about Goddard.
Yeah, Goddard, this amazing mechanical dog.
The best mechanical good boy.
The best mechanical good boy.
Yeah. He was there.
He was there, and he was such a good boy.
He was a good boy. That's... If you want to take anything away from every episode of Jimmy Neutron, Goddard was a good boy.
Speaking of good boys...
For when you have man's greatest mechanized companion, there's no better way to show your love in return than with a delicious metallic chrome bone. If they've helped you build your inventions or transformed into the rocket ship you used to travel with, especially when they use your voice to cover for you when your parents are being nosy, make sure you treat them with the best there is. Get Chrome Bone.
What do you get for the good stuff? Get Chrome Bone, get Chrome Bone.
Get Chrome Bone, you stupid idiot.
When your dog gets plugged into an outlet, get Chrome Bone, get Chrome Bone.
Do you even love your dog, you dumb fuck? For when your dog is filled with ionized noble gases, the best treat to cheer him up is Chrome Bone.
What do you get for the good stuff? Get Chrome Bone, get Chrome Bone.
You know, I'm starting to think that you actually just hate dogs.
When your dog gets plugged into an outlet, get Chrome Bone, get Chrome Bone.
You should be ashamed of yourself, you anti-empathetic, stupid dingus fuck.
So now we are coming to the second episode we did. We wanted to talk about like, hey, where it started and then where it went. So the next episode we covered is My Big Fat Spy Wedding.
And this aesthetic is what I remember watching.
Yes, like this type of animation style where they had their things. I was like, all right, this is the peak Jimmy Neutron I remember.
Right. It was great. It was very, very living in the world of like Pixar at the time.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like Toy Story walked so that Jimmy Neutron could rocket.
For sure. And at this point, we actually start with a person sneaking into a room. We will later find out is Beautiful Gorgeous, which is her name. So she was sneaking into the room, which we later found out was Jet Fusion. Secret agent.
Not Jet Pulsion or Jet Flotion?
Jet Newsom.
Jet Newsom. Old Jeb Newsom. So she's sneaking in a room with old Jeb Newsom.
Well, we don't even know it's her. We just see a woman.
It's very silhouette. Yep.
Yeah, it's very silhouette. It's very dark. It's nighttime. And then we get Jimmy is like, hey, check out my robot exosuit that allows me to dance to Funky Town. And Carl, oh yeah. So
Carl. We
yes.
didn't end the episode entirely, did we?
No.
Ty?
So in the pilot episode, they show Carl finally making it back from the spaceship. And he's like, hey, I really gotta go use the restroom. Never mind.
So he's okay.
He's okay.
He's not still
back
in
on
space.
Earth. He wet himself in front of Jimmy Neutron's family, but he's okay.
Yeah. So he's good.
Yeah.
In the best possible way.
In the best possible. And he has no ill feelings. He's sitting there asking Jimmy, he's like, so what do you have in a robot who can dance yourself to Funky Town with? And Jimmy was like, oh, it's because there's going to be a funk festival at... And then he gets sucked up. Like, it wasn't even like something pulled him. It was just like he suddenly got warped into somewhere. He's, ah! And he's with Carl and Sheen.
Into a mailbox.
And she's like, what do you think I was trying to say? Oh, he was going to dance his way to fucking town. And we cut to this secret agency where we have the leader who's like, Jimmy Neutron, you are the only one that we can count on. We had Beautiful Gorgeous leave prison after 2 weeks because she was under good behavior. He's like, she left her 45-year sentence 45 years early. She was on really good behavior.
Wait, she didn't escape?
No, she didn't escape. She was let off parole because of good behavior.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so at that point, Jimmy's been tasked. He's like, I need you to go find this bitch and see what she's up to. And Jimmy's like, I got you, boo. And he's finally let out. And this honorary secret agent member, who apparently has been on several missions, goes and tells his friends, Sheen and Carl, like, hey, we got to go find this bitch. And they're like, thanks for inviting us.
They're so grateful.
Oh, they're so grateful. And then we find out that she is at a jewelry shop. And she is sitting there trying. No. It wasn't a jewelry shop.
Yeah, it was.
It was a.
Oh, it was a tie shop.
It was a tuxedo shop.
Yeah, with no employees.
Yeah, no employees.
Nope.
No,
It's fine.
they were just there by themselves. And they see that she's with Jet Fusion, secret agent. And at this
Old
point,
Jeb Newsom.
yeah, Jet Newsom. And at that point, they see her like reach around his neck, and they're like, "Oh no, she's gonna choke him!" And they all run in.
Yeah,
and
she was about to give his neck a reach around.
Yeah, and they
That's
all
how you
like
choke
run
people.
towards her, and they all jump, missing both Jet and Beautiful Gorgeous completely. And that's when Jet's like, Jimmy, what are you and your friends doing? Like, we were trying to save your life. She was gonna choke you. He's like, nah, brah, she was going to put this bow tie on me. And like, what? Like, oh yeah, we're getting married. And at this point, everyone's surprised. I remember Sheen said, like, what kind of alternate universe bullshit is this?
Yeah.
And at this point, like, no, we're just in love. And she's turned away from her evil ways. And so we're going to get married. And Jimmy, I want you to be my best man.
So yeah, I guess at this point they have a friendship.
Yeah.
So
Apparently they've been on a mission before.
Yeah. So cool. So he's the best man now.
Yeah, he's now the best man.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know how the leader of the secret organization is going to take this.
Like something's a little fishy.
So at this point, he goes to the leader. Is like, yeah, just getting married to Beautiful Gorgeous. And apparently he passes out from hearing that. So he wakes up from being passed out. He goes, wait. They're getting married? What kind of alternate universe bullshit is this? And she's like, that's what I said.
Yep.
And so we get to, like, he's going to continue spying and just making sure. They're going to see if they can catch Beautiful Gorgeous in the act.
Do they go to an ice cream shop here?
No, they go to a picnic.
Okay, that's later.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go to the picnic. Far away, on a
Yes.
bridge.
And so at this point, they're watching from the bridge. And in the picnic, she pulls out what looks like a wand that does lasers. And of course,
You don't have a laser wand, Ty?
I don't have a laser wand.
You
I
gotta
have
get
a
a laser
magic wand, but not a laser wand.
What is a magic wand?
A magic wand is where I can go Wingardium Leviosa and something floats.
Yeah, but you don't have a laser wand.
No, I don't have a laser wand.
Yeah, you gotta upgrade.
I gotta get up
Hey,
with the times.
life will get better.
It will. Eventually, I will be able to. In fact, you can support us on our Patreon so I can have a laser wand.
That's all we want.
That's really it. Like, we want to stand for our microphones that won't just move around on their own.
And a laser wand.
And a laser wand.
We are not asking for that much.
Not much at all.
Yeah, I don't know how much a laser wand is.
Not terribly much, I imagine.
A few 100,000 grand, probably.
Give or take.
Maybe more. Support us.
And so at this point, they are now still following, and they're now at a diner, and they're wearing disguises. And at this point, they are mistaken for like a Norwegian rock band.
They are.
And so like, no, that's not us. Get the fuck away. And
You know, I was not disappointed, but I was really hoping that this guy who walks by and is like, "You guys are the band, whatever," and then had a picture of them.
that would have been
and it looked like
amazing.
I was like, "This is gonna happen." Then it kind of just
See, I have your album right here. See, I have your album right here.
don't know what accent that was.
Oh, I just thought this was the Swedish accent he was doing.
That might be Swedish. Yeah, Swedish is exactly like that.
Cool.
Feels good.
Thank you.
Sure, but no photo, no photo of this band. I want to learn more
It
about
was
this
a
band.
missed opportunity for sure.
Yes, but I guess it was a throwaway line anyway because the whole point was so they could spy on them. And she holds up this it was a laser pen at this point.
No, it was a knife. It was a fucking butcher's knife.
Oh, it was a butcher knife.
And so they, of course, freak out like, no. And Jeff Fusion's like, the fuck are you doing? He goes, I'm saving your life, bitch. And they, like Jimmy actually takes a laser watch and shoots a laser at the knife to knock it out. She goes, I'm trying to practice how to cut the wedding cake. And Jimmy's like, all right, I'm 3-0. I need to apologize. I'm
0-3?
sorry. 0-3. Yeah, that's what I meant. That's actually what I said. So I'm glad you just repeated me.
Well, you know,
It's not like they have an option of just replaying it and hearing what I actually said.
no. Listen, rewind it.
No,
you'll
please
see.
don't.
You'll see that Ty is 1-1.
And Jim was like, all right, I'm 3-0. I need to apologize. I'm
0-3?
sorry. 0-3. Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. 0-3. Yeah, that's what I meant. I need to apologize. 0-3. Yeah, that's what I meant. 0-3. Yeah, that's what I meant. 0-3. Yeah, that's what I meant. What kind of alternate universe bullshit is this? 0-3. Yeah, that's what I meant. 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 I need to apologize. Oh, you know what? Actually, it wasn't. They had a laser wand for candles. They had a laser wand because they were engraving the rings.
Listen, this whiskey is delightful.
It is absolutely delightful.
It is making things interesting. Happy Saturday, my friend.
Happy Saturday. So at this point, Jimmy's kind of admitted defeat. He's like, all right, maybe this bitch has like changed her ways. And at this point, they leave. And that's when we actually catch Beautiful Gorgeous like, hey, what do you think about this candy for the wedding? And she pulls up these discs that are just going in a circular motion. Just like ready as he goes, oh, these don't look like candy. These look like circular motion discs. And then he gets hypnotized.
That hypnotize. They look delicious,
They
though.
do look delicious.
I would be willing to get hypnotized if I could try like one or two of those candies.
Yes. Those candies did look good.
Yeah.
But it makes me feel like, did she hypnotize him from the beginning to fall in love with her? Or is this the first time she's actually started to hypnotize him?
No, I think she's genuinely a good con artist.
She absolutely is a great con artist.
Yeah, and was able, and like, you know, these candies were the straw that broke the spy agent's camel.
Penis.
His penis Campbell.
His camel penis. So at this point, she's hypnotizing him. It's like, hey, when someone says, I have the ring, I want you to destroy them. And it's really important because the whole point of being a best man is for Jimmy to be asked, hey, who has the ring? And he's like, I had the ring, so that he can give them to the bride and groom. So, of course, they're in the rehearsal, they're practicing, and surprisingly, they're not in the rehearsal dinner. They're at the restaurant still. And Sheen's like, oh, Jimmy, you have it so easy. All I have to say is, I have the ring, and you're done. And then that's when the hypnosis kicks in, and Jet Fusion just beats the shit out of Sheen.
He picks him up by his ankles and just starts smashing his face
into the table.
Yeah, I was like, this is a little violent. Which, you know what? That's what hypnotizing does.
Yeah, it makes you a violent bitch.
Yeah, it was confusing and violent. They took our advice...
And they just
really took both Schrodinger's advice.
They took it to the direction it shouldn't have. They took it too far.
Yeah, they said, I think the advice was be violent and confusing. And they did it.
They did it.
To the teeth.
Successfully.
Yeah. It's a good job. Jeb Noopsome. Your banjo playing violence. And he plays banjo, right? Jeb Newsom?
I guess. If it's Jeb Newsom, if it's Jet Fusion, he plays electric guitar. But Jet Fusion, his cousin, Jeb Newsom.
It's Jeb Newsom with an M, right? Noomsome.
That's his cousin.
I think it's Noomsome.
Noomsome?
Jeb
Noomsome.
Jeb Noomsome.
Noomsome.
Yeah, if you're not listening, come on, go listen. Leave them at least a 3-star review. They need your support.
They do. I need your support, please. I've had a lot to drink.
Give us 1 star, please.
And so at this point, Jimmy's like, that's super weird. I'm going to follow Beautiful Gorgeous. And so he sneaks into the apartment and sees her. And her whole plan, she tells the whole plan to herself. It's like, I have a wedding dress and then a funeral dress because I'm going to get married in the morning in the same day. These bitches don't know what's coming to them.
They don't.
And Jim is like, well, I do now, bitch. And I got this Hypno Ray. And she goes, oh, is that a Hypno Ray? Because guess what?
It's mine.
And she basically drops lower kicks, like swipe. She Chun-Li's the shit out of Jimmy Neutron. And now he's stuck in a prison. And he's like, well, if I'm supposed to be the one that says that so I can get killed, how's that going to happen? I'm behind a prison. And he goes, because I'm going to rewind your memory the last 30 minutes. I'm going to like wipe it away.
Did you combine erase and rewind?
Yes, I
did.
To
erind. Technically, that is correct.
It is still correct.
She around his memory.
Yes. Surrounded his memory and then launched him out. So he's like, why am I surrounded by this broken cage? And luckily, Sheen and Carl saw the whole thing. So then they approach, and then they get caught into a prison.
Like idiots.
These are fucking idiots.
Now, Sheen had introduced this concept of these, I can't remember the name, monkeys that kind of like were
like these
spy monkeys?
These like Arctic monkeys. No, not Arctic.
That's a great band.
That's a very great band.
Yeah, absolutely. But it wasn't the Arctic monkeys, but it was like a brigade of spy monkeys who can save you.
Yes.
And it sounded like this bonkers idea.
It did. No one believed him.
Yeah. And he goes, I'm gonna call the Arctic Monkeys real quick. They're my favorite band. To which Carl's like, dude, yeah, they're good, but they're busy. They're on tour.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, watch me call the Arctic Monkeys. He calls the Arctic Monkeys.
He does. He makes these monkey sounds. Yep. And then the monkeys come in and he goes, bitch, I told you.
Yeah.
Is that Colonel McElwain, whatever his name was like, thank you so much. And Carl, you owe an apology. He's like, I'm sorry, Colonel.
Yep. And
then they go running.
So they're on the way to the wedding.
The wedding is happening right fucking now.
Yeah.
And at this point, Jimmy's already there. He's dressed in a tux. You got Cindy, who is like, Jimmy's such a nerd, and holy crap, he looks like a stud.
He's a nerd hunk.
He's a nerd hunk.
Yeah.
She calls him a hunk muffin because here's this nerd in a tux. Like, I feel like you are a hunk muffin.
I feel like we should have made hunk muffins to pair with our whiskey today.
That's
you know
what we needed.
We'll do that at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't need to make sense. We're gonna e-rind our life and
then make those hunk muffins.
Hunk muffins. We said it here. That makes it law.
Yeah,
we have to make hunk muffins.
Now the question is, what goes into a hunk muffin?
We don't have to decide right now.
Okay, that's just something we will decide. In the future.
We'll talk about it when it happens because we got to do it.
We do. That sounds delicious. That sounds delicious as fuck.
Because it's a muffin.
It's a hunk muffin.
It's a hunk muffin. Yeah. This is happening. This is absolutely happening. I do want okay, the podcast is over. We have to go make hunk muffins. Goodbye. Okay, fine. No, we'll end the episode properly.
We'll go all the way.
But just know, hunk muffins are in your future.
Yes.
Most excellent.
And I am so excited.
Well, okay, so Jimmy's this hunk muffin walking on in.
Yeah.
But on the side, you got Sheen and Carl getting stuck in some crazy traffic.
Yeah, it's not just traffic. There are several festivals, several parades going on right now. They have like the music parade, which is ran by bears. They have the fan parade, which is ran by fans, like literally blowing them the fuck away.
And then the punchline was fantastic because they're trying to get to the wedding to save the day.
They are.
This poor skateboarder, Ty. This poor skateboarder.
Yeah, like, oh, this is a skateboard festival.
He jumps a fire hydrant and
breaks his leg.
And that leg was broken. Yeah. You ever seen a protractor do its thing?
Like, you know how someone, you're like, that person's broke as fuck? That foot was broke as fuck.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, well, they're good people. They're going to help him.
Nope.
Cut to both of them on his skateboard. That kid is still there.
Yeah, crying,
dying. Like, all he has is fans and bears to help him out.
No hunk muffins to enjoy.
No hunk muffin. He'll never know the sweet, savory, salty taste of a hunk muffin.
That sounds so fucking delicious right now.
It has to be all those things now. That sweet umami taste of a hunk muffin. Are you tired of you just having sweet muffins? No, we're
about to have a savory umami muffin. Hunk muffin.
A hunk muffin. Oh.
A hunk muffin.
All right, so we'll bring this thing to its closing finish line.
So we finally get to the point where they finally get to the wedding. They get to the door, and it's now time for Jimmy to be like, I have the ring, and they're banging on the door like, no, bitch, don't say that. And so he's like, what are you talking about? All I have to say is, I have the ring. And that's when they're like, no, that's how he gets confused and gets hypnotized to kill you. And that's when you see Jet Fusion like lose his mind. And
Yeah, Jeb Newsom throws his banjo across the room.
Yes. And it goes after, and
and it hits that poor kid with a broken leg who actually did make it.
And that's when they're like, "Hey, just say it! Everyone say it!" And you get random people saying, "I have the ring," and Jeb Newsom is like, "Ooh, I'm gonna go after you," and then everyone keeps saying it.
He's confused. He's ping ponging around.
He's ping ponging around, and then it takes a turn.
And we are not gonna sing this song. God damn it!
Are you sure?
Yeah, I am 100% positive. We're not going to sing it.
Because they're sitting there, and you got, what was her name? Cindy? Not Cindy. It was Cindy. Libby.
Cassindi?
Libby. Libby was the one on the piano, and she starts making the song.
Yeah, very helpful. Tactical.
Super helpful.
Yeah.
I say this all, I was like, I have the ring. And then everyone jumps into it. This is a spiritual revival right here.
It really is.
It was amazing. Everyone starts doing it.
And Carl with the pipes.
Yes.
He was sopranoing out there.
He was sopranoing the shit out of that song.
He ate his hunk muffins in the morning, obviously.
And so, of course, Jet Newsom is just losing his fucking mind because he doesn't know who to go after, and he just short circuits.
Poor Jeb. And
he finally comes to, and of course you have Beautiful Gorgeous like, no, you're ruining my plan. I wanted to get rid of both Jimmy and Jet. This was my chance to have it all. I could have had it all. I feel like Carl could have landed that so much better than I could.
Yeah, well, Carl is a superstar, if you will. Yes.
And so at this point, they finally get her arrested. She's going to prison, and she tries to play it. It's like, won't you let me out of here, Jet?
Hold on.
We could be such a good team together.
We're missing one very important thing.
What am I missing?
She tries to escape from the altar.
Oh, yeah, her tiara.
And she has this tiara on, and it shoots what is the rope?
Like a spring dart or whatever. So she can spring forward.
We're not thinking of the right word. But we're saying this.
Grappling hook, basically.
Yes, a grappling hook.
Yes. And Jet grabs her by the arm and throws her on the floor.
But it is the slowest grappling hook.
Absolutely the slowest.
But the fact that it came out of her tiara was like just the topping on the hunk muffin, if you will.
It was peak, cheesy, villainous spy.
Yeah. And he was like, nah.
Yeah, nah, bitch.
Nah.
I got you.
And then she gets
she gets basically thrown in jail. And at the time, Jet's like, nah, our wedding's called off due to you being in jail.
And the game is called Due to You Being in Jail. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually want to use that one now.
Do it. And at this point, he's trying to be like, you know what, this is just going to be a lonely journey for me. What am I kidding? Like, boo-boo, I'm going to miss you.
Text me.
Write me every day. And she's like, fuck.
Yeah. It's like, okay, cool. So yeah, they had a happy ending, obviously.
Yeah. And then both Carl and Sheen get a honorary spy medal.
Yep.
And then of course you have Carl who's trying to sing. I was like, I am a spy. And he gets shut down.
Yep.
And I appreciate that while he's getting shut down for singing, that's when Libby starts bringing in the song. I was like, everyone can sing except Sheen.
Yeah, that was their lesson that they learned.
That was their lesson. And it wasn't even just like it was a lesson. That was the song that they played. It was a whole ass music video about how Sheen couldn't sing before the movie or the show ended.
Right. Yeah. It was nice because it was like, we learned something today. And it kind of went around the circle for a second. And then it was finally like, no. It was that Sheen cannot sing.
Yeah, that's the whole point of this.
It's like, it's kind of bullying a little bit, but they're not wrong.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah. What a hunk muffin of an episode.
Oh my goodness. Now, speaking of hunk muffins, what was your background watching this show growing up? Did you watch this growing up?
Yeah, I did. It was before Invader Zim, where Invader Zim is my
the last one you dealt with.
I know I didn't really watch Invader Zim. Invader Zim was the first show I remember not watching. Does that make sense? I was like, oh, this is how.
This is where I ended.
Yeah. So Jimmy Neutron was like the final. I think the final hurrah as a child.
Okay.
You too?
I mean, I kept watching through Avatar: Last Airbender. So
did you? So that was 2006. So that's a good.
So
amount of time.
Jimmy Neutron was in the middle
7
where
years
I was watching.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because Avatar came out in 2003. And I don't think I actually watched all 3 seasons. I just remember watching it, I'm like, oh, I like this, and then came back.
Okay. Yeah. But it was a show that you kind of stuck with?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a show that I was a little familiar with of characters when I rewatched it. I was like, oh yeah, I remember this person. Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah.
So and so is Helga, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Hold on that. I see you grabbing that cookie. All
I
right.
am. I'm
You know what?
grabbing
We're
the
gonna do something.
All right. Tell me what you're gonna do. Tell me what you're gonna do.
All right. We started
me.
this episode with a surprise pastry.
Yeah,
if you will.
That's fair. That's fair.
And we're gonna end it together. We actually didn't take any bites. Ty, you look ravenous. Lower the hand. Yeah, there we go. Because we're gonna do this together. Instead of finishing our drinks, we're gonna do a new thing together. We're gonna touch our tips of our cookie, of our hunk muffins, if you will. And Ty, this has been a great week.
You've been a great week.
You are my 7 days. Oh, well, this seriously has been so much fun. I'm looking forward to the next week. And there's only one last thing we have to do.
Cheers.
Cookies up.
Cookies up. How is it so fucking good?